Also, no webcam for Twink, so maybe he's at Disneyland.
Also, no mana worm for Terrence. This is probably a bigger issue.
I'll give him a chance. Let him mulligan. Archaeologist probably a decent keep.
Yeah, I feel so. It's a shame because then you don't get your mana worm. He is going to keep Luna. Luna is insane when she gets going.
Insane in the membrane.
And nothing particularly ridiculous for Denmark, but it feels like there's enough stuff if they can get some ramp.
Yeah, I think the most important card you can see there is that Spellstone. To be able to deal with some early minions is important. Like a Sorcerer's Apprentice is usually the prime target with a Spellstone, because of course you have to upgrade it if you want to be able to kill anything of more value.
But for now, their hand isn't particularly great, and this has really helped Terrence's hand. Archaeologist seems kind of innocuous at times, but the fact it just gets the stuff you don't want to draw out of your deck, because you don't really want to draw secrets because they're cumbersome.
You used 2 words in that sentence that I had no idea what they meant, by the way, just to let you know.
Used and...
Innocuous.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Sort of, you know, it doesn't do a lot.
Just meh.
Yeah.
Alright.
And cumbersome?
Yeah.
It's like bulky and clunky.
Oh, okay.
But everyone says clunky, so I used cumbersome instead. Expect that.
I thought you were saying Cumberbatch. I thought you were talking about Benedict.
You're strange sometimes. Not wanting to take the face damage, going to use their naturalizers and spellstones. We talked about naturalize yesterday, actually, and how the mage just feeds on having more cards given to it for free.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're giving any deck that just likes to go face the ability to go face more, like, essentially with naturalize, you are allowing them one Alunith, almost.
Yeah,
like
a free arcane intellect.
Yeah, it's just silly. And actually, there is a lot of damage in this hand. It's quite deceiving, but it is there. Arcane Missiles and Cinderstorm, they both add up. But the problem is, you get so close with the aggro mage, where you push all this damage, you get the druid down to 7, and then suddenly they go branching pass, and gain 24 armor, and you're like, well, where on earth are they going to be able to kill 2 heroes?
So what they've got to do first, with all that in mind, is to get the minion damage through.
Minion damage is important.
And then if you can get that through early on, then all that spell damage doesn't have to be as much, and suddenly they maybe can sneak past the armor.
And it's whether Denmark recognise that you're probably not going to see more than 3 minions on the board, so yeah, use this mind control tech just to compete. Ooh.
Ah.
Early enough?
I think so, because their hand is one where they're going to start launching spells anytime soon.
I mean, certainly.
See if they play it this turn, because they can play it with Luna maybe next time. I know there'll be one more card on the right, but I think they do just play it this turn.
What, the Mana Worm?
Yeah.
Yeah, alongside either a Cinderstorm or even maybe just an Explosive Trap isn't too bad. You do want to try and kill off this 3-3. So maybe Cinderstorm is your best way of doing so, just with 3 of the 5 missiles.
Yeah, that's 50-50. As is playing the Arcane Missiles, that's also 50-50 to hit at least twice, and then you could just ping it off for the 3rd. Yeah, but the Cinderstorm makes more sense mana curve-wise.
And how good is Terrence at Aggro Mage? Not very, it would seem. Well, I mean...
If you're going to miss with them, you might as well miss with most of them,
yeah,
right?
You might as well be able to trade one of the 2-3s, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, the worst result there was hitting it exactly twice. That would have been pretty grim.
I presume you do make the trade because you don't want to allow the trade onto the Mana Worm, because the Mana Worm is going to be a more impactful minion in the long run.
Yeah, and nothing wrong with just avoiding some sort of nightmare scenarios of spreading plagues.
There is one of the armor gain possibilities for Twink.
The thing is, though, if he gains armor with that, I mean, he can gain armor with it later, but his hand isn't that great.
It's not that bad either. I mean,
don't get me wrong, it's okay.
Potentially a spreading plague, and Malfurion in itself is just sometimes the nail in the coffin against aggro mage.
It really is. It's just too much health gain.
You gain 5 armor with the hero, and then suddenly you're gaining 3 every turn.
They're eyeing up this Spellstone, I think rightly so, because if you deal with a Mana Worm, now you've got the Branching Paths in hand, I think you feel fairly comfortable that you can fend off all this gubbins.
Yeah, we don't see a Pyroblast available for Terrence in the United States here, but we do see a Spell Shifter. I know I've seen Spell Shifter hover around since Germany. I think we saw a couple of players
in there from France, yeah.
Oh, there was one player who reached high legend with it on the States. He was J-Dart. J-Dart.
Okay.
He is a big advocate of Spell Shifter, and he claims that it was his kind of addition to the deck. I can't say if that's true or not, but certainly one of the players who does put Spell Shifter in very often. I have tried it. Its ability to become a 4-1 on turn 2 is quite scary against the right kind of decks.
Yeah.
But of course the spell damage is the real reason why it's in the deck.
Yeah, I don't think we've decided yet as a community exactly how much spell damage this deck needs. It seems to vary wildly from player to player how much they think they need to put in. We've seen people play Black Cat, which is like a last resort, because as a minion it's pretty meh, as you would say.
Pretty meh.
But as a spell damage on top of all the others, then things can get out of control. Unexpected results can sometimes be good with that. Unexpected results, the other one. The one that makes 2 dudes.
That was the card that everyone thought was going to be incredible as well. I heard a lot of players that were just like, wow, this is going to be the card that is going to make Aggro Mage the top tier deck. It's never really happened.
No, it hung around in there for a little while, but soon it vanished again.
I think it's nice when you get it off of Glyph, though. That's certainly a benefit.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Does it? You didn't sound too enthusiastic.
I mean, I'm looking at
seems like you were just agreeing with me for the sake of it there, Lorinda.
Yeah, I was.
Do you do that often?
Yes.
Great, that is doing me loads for my self-confidence. Thank you.
When do they want to use this coin is the only decision now. Will this spreading plague ever be better than 2?
Well, they'll be thinking about this secret. They'll be saying, is this a counterspell? That's the difficult thing with these 2 secrets, is you try and play around it, and then sometimes it can be a waste of a coin. You need to have a game plan. It now means that Malfurion cannot come out for 2 more turns, which is definitely a good thing for Terrence.
And what do they want to do with this Tyrant? Do you want to just burn up the secret or not bother? Don't want to bother, they want to protect their health total. Yeah, because why wouldn't they? If they don't die, then it doesn't really matter how they find a way to win.
Probably not when there's spell damage on the board, that's for sure. But now, Anomaly plus Shooting Star and Arcane Missiles, this can get ugly pretty quickly.
This could be brutal now. Both of them have died. Of course, Terrence did point to see if he could attack in or not, and he couldn't, so he can go face. And now Luna, with any half-decent pickup next turn, could just win the game.
Well, I think Branching Paths will stop that. 12 armor is pretty considerable.
I mean, yeah, I keep doing the squeak. Not quite sure why.
No, it's still a
So it's roller coasters. But with +3 spell damage, a couple of Luna pickups could just kill you in a hurry.
And I'm sorry, I can't not laugh. So
nothing happened there.
With our casting microphones, we have the ability to talk to production, and we also have a cough button. Neil just talked back to the production with a cough.
And that's probably what they think of it.
Ripped the eardrums of the whole team. But now Naturalize being forced to be used by Denmark because they do respect the amount of spell damage that was available.
But look what they've given to the United States here. Absolutely perfect looking hand.
But sometimes a Lunith isn't even enough. It's a nice refill.
Yeah, it's a shame for the United States it wasn't the other way around, because then you could play the Luna, the Apprentice, and go wild with all your spells.
What to do? What to do?
Like you say, a Lunith might be a touch too slow, and they're just going to go this way with it.
Yeah, just empty out the hand and you have a Lunith to refill afterwards.
And the counterspell to try and protect the board. And protected it probably will. There's only a Naturalize left which can kill anything in the hand at the moment, and that means that Luna will live, a new card will come to the right-hand side, the Apprentice will live, and a lot of damage can come in next turn. When Luna lives, bad things happen.
Yeah.
There's no yeah about it.
No, I mean, I just don't know if it's enough. Like, Malfurion is just going to potentially put this game to bed.
I don't think I agree with you. I think that the Luna is going to take over the game here. Because all the spells are reduced by 1 as well. And there's nothing more expensive. There's no Pyro in here, right? So the most expensive spell they have, or the most expensive card they have, would be a Fireball at 3 mana. They've got 8 mana available, and they're going to draw through cards.
But it's how much damage they can realistically do. Well, they've already used 1 Cinderstorm, already used 1 Arcane Missiles, and 1 Frostbolt. So you're looking at 2 Fireballs.
We're going to find out.
A Cinderstorm and a Frostbolt. Like, that's not that much damage.
And if they pick up a second Apprentice.
But where are they getting the damage, Neil?
Here it comes.
Behold the tools of creation.
Someday I'll be just like you.
This is where we get to find out.
They need
This is the
glyphs.
draw I had in mind when I was talking about it.
They need glyphs, I feel. The minion damage is certainly going to be important. Right, there's glyph. Okay, this is now the big one. There's unexpected results. Flame Gazer deals 3 damage. Great, that's more face damage. That's what they need.
But everything in their deck does face damage now, pretty much. There's another Arcane Intellect.
Behold the tools
There's all
of
this stuff.
creation.
I mean, believe me, Neil, I would love to see the United States find a victory with this Face Mage because it can be so difficult to do against this. Well, okay, all right, it's coming. It's flooding in. Is
you
this
convinced
actually
yet?
just lethal?
Are you convinced yet? Are you convinced yet, Mr. Gaskin?
No,
That
I'm not.
Luna is crazy.
Luna is crazy.
The tools of
Oh my goodness, that was a lot. All right, I'll give you that.
Okay, it wasn't lethal, so I guess you were right.
Oh, it was one off. See, I was completely correct. Not enough damage in the deck, Neil.
If only they'd had 9 mana. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, yeah, put my hands up. It was cool to watch.
It was
that's for
24
sure.
damage to the face, I think, or 23. They're in the 20s anyway at the start of the turn.
As
They've
you
got
would
through
say.
2 1/5s.
To the mush.
Yeah.
Is there a way out now for Twink? He has to proc this counterspell before he plays Ferocious Howl. And then he has Naturalize available, but with Fireball in hand, I think, yeah, well, all right, fair enough. Maybe we were, maybe statistically,
Don't implicate me.
But I mean, maybe statistically, Face Mage is just good against Malakos Druid. Maybe the website was correct.
It's the way they managed to navigate the game so that Luna ended up sticking on the board. That was the key there. And they forced Denmark to have to use a Naturalize, which filled up the hand. And they're actually just going to give the USA the pleasure of killing them off here.
And the United States,
Maybe hoping that Temperatures, has to stop and go
possibly
to
at a
another
theme
ride or
park,
something.
but he
Yeah.
wins anyway, and the United States are 3-0 up. Or they win 3-0, that was quick. And Denmark, unfortunately, are eliminated from the global games. And I put my hand up, I did not expect that much damage to be coming through. It didn't seem like enough,
In
but
fairness, they did get the second Apprentice, which makes a difference.
it does.
You can do.
Glyph helped as well, getting the extra little oomph. But it was just that one extra spell damage makes a big difference on Cinderstorm and Arcane Missiles, doesn't it? Especially when you've cleared off the board.
Yeah, 1 less mana, which turned out to be 2 less mana, plus 1 extra spell damage. I mean, the whole deck just gets drawn pretty much.
Pretty nuts. Lorinda had a smile on his face the whole time, and I was just like, nah, it's not going to happen. Let's have a look at the final matchup and see how the 3-0 was achieved then for the United States. A nice, swift way to enter into the